What if I revealed that there exist entities so formidable, so ancient, and so awe-inspiringly terrifying that even the formidable Olympian gods would choose flight over confrontation? These are not beings spawned from pride or vengeance, but from the primal chaos of the universe itself. They are forces so wild and unbridled that they defy categorization as gods, monsters, or something beyond comprehension. Picture facing a creature that doesn't merely consume mortals but overshadows stars, taints entire worlds, and causes deities to quiver. This isn't mere fantasy, it's mythology. Some of these entities didn't just oppose gods, they utterly shamed them. Welcome to Chronicles of Myth, where ancient tales, buried terrors, and divine battles are brought to vivid life. If you're captivated by the hidden corners of mythology, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to stay updated on every epic tale. Music. Let's dive in. Deep within the lush, misty jungles of South America, woven into the lore of the Tupi-Guarani, one entity reigns supreme, Anhangua, also called the Starlit Jaguar. Far more than a mere jungle predator, she was the devourer of celestial bodies, held responsible for the eclipses that plunged the skies into darkness. Unlike the Norse wolves endlessly chasing the sun and moon, this jaguar seized them. Yet her story doesn't end with cosmic feats. Once, in what seemed a light-hearted jest, she was deceived by Guarasi and Jasi, the gods of the sun and moon. What began as a trick turned tragic. Disguised as a fish, Jasi was unwittingly struck and slain by the jaguar's claw. A god's death, followed by a resurrection, all sparked by a spirit whose might rivals the heavens. From the tropics to the icy reaches of Norse lore, we encounter the world serpent, Jormungandr. Born of Loki and the giantess Angrboda, this serpent was so immense it coiled around the earth, grasping its own tail. Not a metaphor, literal truth. Odin, gripped by fear, cast it into the sea, hoping it would vanish. Yet its thrashing stirred earthquakes. Its venom could slay deities, and its fate was bound to Thor's. On a fishing expedition, the thunder god snared the beast, hauling it toward the surface. What ensued nearly triggered the world's untimely end. A strike from Mjolnir might have slain it, but the line was severed, delaying destiny, not escaping it. For at Ragnarok, Thor and the serpent do meet again. They kill each other. That's not a skirmish. That's mutual annihilation. Still in the Norse cosmos, but moving to land, another child of Loki prowls, Fenrir, the great wolf. Not a beast of the forest, but a creature raised among the gods, until his size and strength made even Odin tremble. Only the god Tyr had the courage to befriend him. After 2 failed attempts to chain him, the gods finally succeeded, but only by trickery and at the cost of Tyr's hand. Even bound, Fenrir remained dangerous. When Ragnarok comes, he breaks his bonds, swallows Odin whole, and shakes the heavens. It takes Odin's own son to bring him down. But the fact remains, he devoured the Allfather. That is no beast. That is destiny. Now, let's go deeper underground, to a place ruled not by monsters, but by someone once considered on. Hel, the third child of Loki. Half alive, half dead, and fully sovereign over the souls who die without glory. When Baldr, the beloved god, dies, the gods plead with her to release him. She agrees, but on one brutal condition: every living thing must weep. One refusal seals his fate. The coldness of that decree, the power she wields over all mortality, and her indifference to divine begging, that's not cruelty. That's power. Hel doesn't march to war, she doesn't have to. She just opens her gates and lets the dead do the work. But no pantheon has a monopoly on fear. In Egypt, fear has a name, Ammit, the devourer of souls. She sits by the scales of judgment as Anubis weighs hearts against the feather of Ma'at. If your heart is heavy, if your life was impure, she eats it. Final death, no afterlife, no second chance. With the body of a lion, hippo, and crocodile, the most feared animals in Egypt, she is the nightmare of the dead. Not even a god dares to lie before her. Her presence was so feared, Egyptians lived moral lives because of her. And from the deserts of Africa, an unspeakable fusion of wisdom and horror, Inyoka. Described as a serpent with the face of a horse, this creature was said to command the weather, devour precious stones, and guard the balance of the world. In one version of the Zulu myth, the gods, realizing they had created a being too wise, tried to split it into two lesser creatures, elephant and snake. But one half escaped, and from it, new monsters were born. But of all the monsters, there's one that made even Zeus flee, Typhon. Born from Gaia and Tartarus, he wasn't just another beast. He was a god-killer. As tall as the stars, with eyes of fire and serpents for limbs, he rose to destroy Olympus itself. The gods fled to Egypt in terror. Only Zeus stood his ground, and lost. His muscles were ripped away, his thunder stolen. Only with the help of Hermes and the Fates did he recover and defeat Typhon. But never forget, he lost first. And from the ash and ruin, as gods crawled back into power, they never spoke again of the day the heavens bled and monsters laughed. Music. In the mythology of the Tupi-Guarani, nestled deep within the heart of the South American rainforest, there exists a spirit far more dangerous than any beast and far more powerful than most gods. This being is not cloaked in divine nobility, but in primal fear. Known as Anhangwa or Anka Celeste, the celestial jaguar, this creature embodies cosmic terror. She is no mere jaguar. She is the devourer of light, the cause of eclipses, the one who dares chase and catch the very deities of day and night. In contrast to the Norse wolves that eternally chase the sun and moon, Anhangwa succeeds. She brings the darkness herself, not as a shadow, but as a sovereign force among the Tupi-Guarani. Her presence during eclipses isn't a mythological metaphor. It's an event of divine disruption. She does not just symbolically consume, she claims. And when the heavens darken without warning, it is her bite that gods and mortals alike fear. The story that immortalized her is steeped in fatal irony and cruel humor. On one peaceful day, Guarasi and Jasi, the sun and moon spirits, encountered Anhangwa fishing by the river. Guarasi, always playful, decided to prank her. He slipped into the water, impersonating a large fish, tugging on the line and making the powerful spirit believe she had caught something grand. When Anhangwa pulled the line, he leapt and startled her, causing her to fall back into the river, soaked and humiliated. Laughing, Jasi attempted the same trick, eager to repeat her brother's game. But she was not fast enough. As she imitated the fish, the jaguar reacted on instinct, lunging forward with explosive speed. With a heavy wooden club, Anhangwa struck her victim and killed Jasi instantly, not recognizing her until it was too late. There were no grand speeches, no divine justice, only silence and a corpse. This mistake, born of trickery, caused a rupture in the celestial cycle. Guarasi was left broken, horrified by what his joke had wrought. Yet even in grief, he acted. Gathering the shattered body of his sister, he resurrected her, not as she was, but transformed. Her return to the sky was marked by sorrow and reverence, a spiritual scar left across time. And this tale, passed through generations, serves as both a warning and an explanation for the death and rebirth of the moon. It is not merely mythology. It is the echo of real loss, framed in the cosmic drama of gods and beasts. The celestial jaguar was never punished. She remains part of the eternal sky, untouchable, unrepentant, and ready to strike again when the world dares laugh at her. Source: Mitoya Tupi Guarani, Aurelia Rocha, 1989. In mythologies across the world, animals often bow to the will of gods. But not here. Anhangwa is not a servant or a messenger. She is a force. And while her power may seem like an accident, a misstep in a game between immortals, that illusion crumbles when one realizes she survived the consequences. The gods could not punish her. No war was declared. No divine retribution followed. That silence, that lack of vengeance, is the loudest testimony to her power. She is not feared because she is evil. She is feared because she exists. She teaches the gods what it means to be vulnerable. She reminds them that even among immortals, mistakes cost lives. And more importantly, that not all killers are villains. Some are victims of timing, of instinct, of raw, unspeakable force. What makes Anhangwa's tale stand apart from the beasts of other mythologies is that her moment of violence was not born from malice, but from misunderstanding. There was no war to win, no vengeance to serve, and yet she killed a goddess. That raw outcome, a god's death by mortal hand, is so rare across myth that it elevates her beyond monstrosity. The eclipse is her signature, a celestial brand that cannot be undone. While the Norse beasts are bound by fate and prophecy, and while the biblical monsters await divine command, Anhangwa acts freely. Her story has no beginning or end, just cycles of day and night, light and darkness, grief and rebirth. And she will always be there, in the shadow of the moon, waiting. Deep beneath the churning seas of Norse cosmology lies a creature so vast, so poisonous, and so integral to the fate of gods that its very existence reshapes the narrative of power. Born from the union of Loki and the giantess Angrboda, the serpent Jormungandr, often called the Midgard serpent, is more than a monster. It is a living boundary. Odin, upon seeing the infant snake's size and dark potential, cast it into the deepest ocean, hoping to exile it from fate. But what the Allfather sought to contain only grew stronger. Jormungandr expanded until its body encircled the world entirely, biting its own tail in a terrifying Ouroboros. This was no act of symbolism. This was geography made flesh. The earth itself was bound by the body of a beast destined to destroy it. Despite its silence and seclusion, Jormungandr's mere existence had consequences. Whenever it stirred in the ocean's depths, the ground above would quake. Its venom, so potent that even the gods feared it, poisoned not only the sea but the threads of destiny. And yet, for all its doom-laden presence, the serpent's most famous clash with the divine did not happen at Ragnarok. But on an ordinary day that nearly became the end of days, during a fishing trip with the giant Hymir, Thor baited a massive hook with the head of an ox and cast it deep into the sea. What rose from the abyss was no mere fish. It was Jormungandr itself. As the serpent surfaced, eyes blazing, jaws wide, Thor prepared to strike. He raised Mjolnir high, fury and thunder ready to fall. But Hymir, terrified of breaking prophecy too early, cut the line. The serpent disappeared once more into the deep, leaving the god furious and the world intact, for now. The inevitable confrontation between Thor and Jormungandr was not a question of if, but when. At Ragnarok, the serpent rises once again. It poisons the sky, floods the earth, and faces the thunder god one final time. Their battle is cataclysmic. Thor slays the beast with a single blow of his hammer, but walks only 9 steps before collapsing, dead from the serpent's venom. This is not a victory, but a mutual extinction. In a world of fated ends, Jormungandr doesn't just kill a god, it ends one. That act alone sets it apart from every other creature in the Norse cosmos. It does not scheme. It does not plead. It coils, waits, and when time demands, it strikes. Source: Snorri Sturluson, Gylfaginning, 13th century. Unlike many monsters that exist to be slain by heroes, Jormungandr is not a test or an obstacle. It is a mirror held up to the gods, a reflection of their fear of the limits of their power. Odin could banish it, but not defeat it. Thor could kill it, but not survive it. This serpent's story is not a tale of evil, but inevitability. It represents the moment when even the strongest fall and when prophecy becomes reality. Its venom is not just physical, it is metaphysical, corroding the illusion of control that the gods cling to. Jormungandr teaches that some fates cannot be avoided, only endured. And when the gods of thunder and sea clash with the beast of the abyss, it is not heroism that wins. It is the clock striking midnight on eternity. There are no temples to Jormungandr, no prayers offered, no cults devoted to its praise. Its power is acknowledged in silence, in the tremble of the earth during storms, in the fear of depths where light never reaches. To the Norse, the serpent was not just a monster. It was a force, untamable, unrelenting, and unwilling to play by the rules of gods or men. Its fate was written, yes, but so too was its triumph. The Midgard serpent proved that divinity was not invincibility, and that monsters are not always beneath gods. Sometimes, they are what waits for them at the end. Music. Among the creatures born of divine blood and prophetic ruin, one stands not for chaos or vengeance, but for inevitability. Fenrir, the great wolf of Norse myth, is not merely a beast. He is the end walking on 4 legs. Born of Loki and Angrboda, like Jormungandr, he represents the land's fury, the terrestrial counterbalance to his serpent sibling's abyss. From his first breath, Fenrir grew beyond the limits of what the gods could understand. And in that growth, he became fear incarnate. Yet, curiously, he was not cast into exile like his siblings. Instead, Odin brought him to Asgard, a fatal miscalculation. Among the halls of the divine, the wolf matured in power and size until even the bravest gods dared not approach him. Only Tyr, the god of war and law, treated him with honor, feeding him daily, forming a bond rooted in respect and sacrifice. As Fenrir's strength surged, the gods grew desperate. Their fear was not of a mindless monster, but of a future they had already seen, one in which the wolf breaks free and devours Odin. They sought to bind him once, then again, but no chain held. The wolf shattered each with terrifying ease. Finally, the gods turned to the dwarves, who forged Gleipnir, a silken ribbon crafted from impossible things. The sound of a cat's footfall, the breath of a fish, and the beard of a woman. It was soft, deceitful, and cruel. Sensing trickery, Fenrir agreed to test the chain only if one god would place their hand in his jaws as a sign of good faith. Only Tyr stepped forward. As Gleipnir tightened and held, the wolf realized the betrayal. He clamped down. Tyr did not cry out nor plead. He lost his hand, and Fenrir lost his freedom. Bound to a rock by an enchanted sword forced into his jaws to keep them pried open, Fenrir lay in eternal restraint. But he did not forget. His imprisonment was not a defeat, but a postponement. Prophecy was patient. At Ragnarok, he breaks free, his howls splitting the skies. He hunts down Odin and, as foretold, swallows the Allfather whole. This is not rage. It is resolution. It is destiny. Fenrir, the wolf once raised among gods, becomes their executioner. It takes Odin's son, Vidar, wearing the magical shoe crafted from all the world's leather scraps, to avenge his father and kill the beast. But by then, Fenrir has fulfilled his purpose. He did not seek war. He was war, embodied, inevitable, and unforgiving. Source: Snorri Sturluson, Gylfaginning, 13th century. What makes Fenrir's tale so haunting is the tragedy buried within it. He was not evil. He was raised among gods, treated with cautious reverence, and betrayed not because of what he did, but because of what he would do. He never harmed the gods until they turned against him. His anger was born not of ambition, but of pain. And in the silent stare between Fenrir and Tyr, one-handed god and bound wolf, lies the heart of the myth, trust broken, fate fulfilled. Even the gods could not escape the roles they played. Fenrir did not become a monster. The gods made him one, with fear as their hammer and prophecy as their forge. In the broader scope of mythologies, few creatures are portrayed with such intimate tragedy. Fenrir's terror lies not in destruction, but in the inevitability of betrayal and consequence. He is not a wild animal, nor a rabid foe. He is the perfect storm of divine fear and cosmic duty. Unlike the fire giants or the serpents of the deep, Fenrir was close to the gods, too close. Odin, recognizing her morbid aura, granted her rule over the realm of the dead, Helheim, where those who died not in battle, but by age, illness, or accident, found their afterlife. Though not violent, her power was cold and absolute. When the radiant god Baldur died, the gods begged for his return. Hel agreed, but only if every creature in the cosmos wept for him. One did not, and so she kept him. No war, no duel, only an unshakable decree. At Ragnarok, she does not fight. She simply opens her gates, releasing the dead to fulfill their destined destruction. Her silence is her strength, and her reign is untouched. Source: Snorri Sturluson, Gylfaginning, 13th century. From the Egyptian Book of the Dead emerges Ammit, the devourer of millions. She is no queen of the underworld, but its judge's executioner. Composed of the lion's forepart, a crocodile's head, and a hippopotamus hindquarters, the three most dangerous animals in the Nile region, Ammit personifies dread. During judgment, the heart of the dead is weighed against the feather of Ma'at, the goddess of truth. If the heart is heavier, proof of a sinful life, Ammit devours it. There is no afterlife, no reincarnation, only annihilation. Not even gods intervene. Her power lies not in dominance, but in the finality of her purpose. She is feared by mortals and respected by gods alike. Source: Pinch, Geraldine, Egyptian Myth, a very short introduction, 2004. In the Greek tradition, Typhon is chaos incarnate. Born from Gaia and Tartarus to avenge the fall of the Titans, he stormed Olympus with fury unmatched. Towering above the mountains, with 100 dragon heads and a body wreathed in fire, he sent the gods fleeing to Egypt, where they hid in animal forms. Only Zeus stood his ground. Their battle scorched the earth. Typhon overwhelmed the king of gods, tearing out his sinews and stealing his thunderbolts. Had it not been for Hermes's cunning and the fates' guidance, Olympus might have fallen. Though Zeus eventually imprisoned Typhon beneath Mount Etna, the fire that spews from the volcano is said to be his breath, still fuming in defeat. He may be buried, but he is never gone. Source: Hesiod, Theogony, lines 820 to 885. Far in the north, beyond the reach of men, lies the realm of fire, Muspelheim. And within it waits Surtr, the oldest of the fire giants. Unlike the wrathful Typhon or the solemn Hell, Surtr is patient. He stands guard at the edge of creation, sword in hand, flame eternal. During Ragnarok, he marches with his kin, setting the world ablaze and dueling the god Freyr in a battle that consumes them both. But it is not just a fight. Surtr's sword slices the sky itself. After all is lost, it is he who engulfs the world in fire. No ambition, no speech, only inevitability. He is the first flame and the final ash. Source: Poetic Edda, translated by Carolyn Larrington, 1996. Biblical tradition, too, offers creatures not of conquest, but of balance and devastation. Behemoth, as described in the Book of Job, is a beast of the land, a mountain of muscle said to rival creation itself. He grazes like an ox, but moves like an unstoppable force. Many associate him with the hippo, others with something far greater, a symbol of God's might on earth. According to Jewish legend, Behemoth awaits the end times, when he will engage in a final battle with his sea-bound counterpart, Leviathan. The victor is of no consequence. Both are fated to die. Their deaths mark the closing of a divine chapter, a sacrifice not of justice, but of balance. Source: Book of Job, chapters 40 to 41, Babylonian Talmud, Bava Batra 74b. Leviathan, the great serpent of the deep, is terror made myth. Often equated to a sea dragon, a whale, or a burning serpent, it is sometimes called a fallen seraph, an angel of the waters cast down and transformed. Descriptions vary, but all agree: its scales are impenetrable, its breath fiery, its eyes like dawn breaking through a storm. It is said that only Behemoth or God himself can destroy it. Until that moment, it coils beneath the oceans, haunting the edges of scripture and imagination. Where the land ends, Leviathan begins, and it waits. Source: Isaiah 27 verse 1, Psalm 74 verse 14, Job 41. Together, these beings, Hel, Ammit, Typhon, Surtr, Behemoth, Leviathan, stand as reminders that divinity is not always glory. Sometimes it is horror. They are not obstacles. They are destinies. Forces that gods cannot kill, only endure. They do not seek worship. They demand recognition. And when they rise, they do not ask for permission. Music.